This is the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, presented by RC Willey. Your home, your way.
Good evening. Welcome inside the RebZone, coming to you from inside the State Farm Center in Champaign, Illinois, after UNLV's heartbreaking loss of the Fighting Illini. Kevin Bollier alongside Running Rebels head coach Marvin Menzies. And Coach, I know that sometimes after losses there's a lot of frustration and stuff, but there are also times you can step away from a loss and take a lot of positives away. Where does this fit in?
Well, you know, I think that a lot of fans want me to be really beat up after every loss and want me to be really down, and they think that maybe that shows the passion or something. I don't know, but to be honest with you, I'm inspired by our foundation. I'm inspired by the young men that were down 13 with 7 minutes to play and had a shot to tie it at the end of the game. I'm inspired by the responses in the locker room after the game. I feel bad for them more than I do myself, because I know it's coming. The way they fought the last game and then the way they fought this game. Teams that have grit, you know, they fight back. The teams that have experience don't get in those positions. So that's what we've got to do. We've got to keep this plugging away, take this L as a lesson, as I always talk about, and go back and teach, There's a lot of teachable moments in this game. Some of them we adjusted to in the second half, but some of them we didn't. So great opportunity to prepare for conference play. I feel like this is a great lesson for conference play, because this is actually an awesome environment. It was loud, it was packed, and they did a good job of supporting their Illini. So, we'll see if this can hopefully bode well for us on the road when we get to conference.
Well, let's show everybody a little bit of what happened in this game, where it was kind of a seesaw affair early, then Illinois opened things up, and then the Rebels fought back to have a chance at the end. A sea of orange greeted the Running Rebels at the State Farm Center. UNLV got on the board first. Joel Tombwe misses the layup, but he gets his own rebound and the putback. Illinois had a little run early. Trent Frazier with the lob to Samba Kane for the lay-in. Then Kipper Nichols gets the slam and the slap. The three-point play gave the Illini the lead. Noah Robotham knocked down a triple, but on the other end, Kane gets the pass and he throws it down in one motion. Nichols dropped the three as the Illini went on a 7-0 run midway through the first. Amari Hardy ended it with this great move to the rim for the lay-in. Jonathan Chamba-Chachua getting the one-hander in the lane. Then off the Illinois turnover, Mbake Jong goes coast to coast for the slam. Tombwe knocked down a baseline jumper, and Chamba-Chachua had a hook in the lane. Chris Clyburn nailed a tray, but every time UNLV went on a run, Illinois answered. Andres Feliz drains a three, and Frazier follows with another. Robotham would hit a triple late in the half to narrow the gap, but 29% shooting took its toll, and UNLV was down 6, 40-34 at the break. It was a rough start to the second half as UNLV turned it over on its first possession. Then on the second, they turned it over again, leading to an easy Illinois bucket on the other end to open up a 10-point lead. The Rebels fought back to cut it to 5 on this three by Tombwe, but that's when Feliz caught fire, getting inside for 3 buckets on 3 straight possessions. Then Samba Kane throws it down as the lead was built back to double digits. Shakur Juiston looked to chip into that lead, hitting the triple and then putting back his own miss. Illinois kept getting easy pass to the rim and built a 14-point lead, but the Rebels dug in and fought. Hardy goes high off the glass. Then Hardy again, the drive, and he gets the hoop and the harm. UNLV would D it up, and they forced a shot clock violation, and Tombwe was fouled on a three-point attempt with 28 seconds left. He hit 2 of 3 to cut it to 2. After Illinois hit its free throws, Jong came through with the follow slam. The Illini hit 1 of 2 on the other end, setting the stage. UNLV down 3 with 10 seconds left. Hardy goes up, and he passes it back right to Illinois. The Rebels don't get a shot off with a chance to tie it, and it's a frustrating road trip as Illinois escapes with a 77-74 win.
I should have just shot the ball. It's honestly better than the turnover. maybe they would have called a foul or something like that. Anything is better than a turnover at that point.
My teammates just keep on telling me, just shoot the ball when you're wide open and just let the game come to you. And that's what I honestly did at the end of the game. I just let the game come to me.
We did a great job of fighting back. We never let the time or the score hinder our thoughts or what we saw out there on the court. You know, we knew we could play with this team because we've done it before. And we knew it was just about fighting until the game was over. And we walked them all the way down to the wire. Fortunately, we wasn't able to pull the game out.
All right, Coach, let's start at the beginning here where early foul trouble forced you to do some rotations, but it just wasn't one or two players. There were a lot of guys that had 2 early fouls.
Yeah.
How difficult was that to figure out which combination to put on the floor?
Well, first thing I got to figure out is how to get them to stop fouling. You're always complaining as a coach about the fouls, but I'm sure I'll go and watch film and go, I see why he called it. So we've got to get back to the lab and understanding how to show our hands, how to move our feet. Our closeouts have to really improve. We're letting guys drive right by us right now, especially towards the end of the game and end of shot clock situations. So the fouling definitely disrupted our rotation or our flow substitution pattern, but not so much that we were out of it. You know, we were still in a position to win the game, and we got to make plays in winning time, and that didn't happen tonight.
When you looked at the first half, there were 29% shooting. How much of that was shot selection? Because it seemed like that your guys were taking a lot of contested shots when they could have made the extra pass, gotten some more looks.
There was a lot of that. I think what happens with Illinois' defense, the way it's designed that way, they want to speed you up and force you into tough shots. And we definitely got sped up, and we definitely made bad decisions after we got by the first guy. We could handle getting the initial pressure. We were good there, but then our decision-making went down the chutes when we got into the paint, or even just getting by that first guy to look and see, okay, where's the help coming from? That guy's open. Your teammate is open because there's his helper right in front of you. And there was a lot of times we went into that guy, and they do a great job taking charges and getting in there and in their rotation. So it ended up hurting us, and that was something that we were actually getting a little better at. So we got to go back to the drawing board on that.
You mentioned Illinois taking some charges. On the flip side of that, with those easy pass to the rim that Illinois was getting, you want one of your guys to step in there and get in front of a guy, and we just didn't see that down the stretch.
Not down the stretch. We had too many guys that were concerned with guarding their guy instead of us guarding them. And I think you got out of our shell principles and out of our defensive principles. When you start to inch more and more towards your guy, like, I don't want to let him score. I don't want to let him score. Well, we don't want to let them score. And so you may need to be in a different position on the floor. And we'll be able to show them that. And they'll be able to say, yeah, I got you, coach. I got to get that. And it all comes back down to discipline and experience and education. So all of those things will happen throughout the course of this year, hopefully sooner than later.
Transition defense, another area, right?
Right.
And it all kind of molds together eventually. But
Yeah.
The question is, you have such a young team. A lot of these guys in AAU not only never played defense, but never faced defenses. So on both sides of the ball,
Right.
At what point do you have to just, it's just teaching the core principles to get them to know the basics of defense, because they probably have never dealt with it like they see at this level?
It's interesting to see the lack of knowledge on some of the younger guys. We didn't grow up that way, and fundamentals was a big point of emphasis, both sides of the ball. But a lot of the way that the youth basketball is going, you can get some guys from good high school programs that do a good job. However, we've got a lot of guys that didn't have that type of training coming up. So we're having to do it now. So it just takes a little bit longer, but a good student is going to be a good student. And no matter what grade he's in, or no matter how old he is, he's going to get the information, and he's going to realize the value and apply it during the game. So that's why I feel optimistic. I love my foundation, our foundation. And I just think that, if they just keep fighting and fans keep supporting them, and they're very influenced by what people say and, what people think. Unfortunately, they're not as seasoned as I am, and they need their fans. They need the hometown to continue to do what they've done. We had a great turnout at Cincinnati, and I thought that not traditionally what compared to great, but it was much improved, and I thought it was good for our guys, and I think they need to continue to get that going forward. So it's a village, right? I mean, there's a lot of people involved that can make this a very shiny product in the desert one day, and hopefully that day's coming soon.
One thing that fans and nobody can question is the fight of this team, because there's a lot of teams on the road for the first time, down 14, that they would have just packed it in, and this team clawed and fought their way back in with a chance to tie it.
Right. I tell you what, our defense was really good late, and I think that was the telling story of the game. It wasn't consistent for the 40 minutes that we were on the floor. The fouling contributed to that. The displacement defensively of where they needed to be. So there's a lot of little things that I think we can clean up. But at the end of the day, we gave it a good fight. We do like the young men in the program, and you got to give Illinois credit. As much as we want to point to all our blemishes, they've got a young squad too, and they persevered through they've had some tough losses versus some really good teams. I think they got like a 5 or 6 RPI in the country. So they don't have a great record, but they've learned from some of their battles. Obviously today was one of those cases.
Well, we're going to take our first break, and when we come back, we're going to look ahead to next week. Only one game on the schedule, and it's a big one on the stretch. We're going to break down the BYU game straight ahead.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, presented by RC Willey. Your home, your way.
This is Shakur Juiston's second season at UNLV, but the senior is making a mark, not only now, but for years to come. Somebody who works hard in the classroom, at practice, and certainly on the floor. Shakur Juiston has proven to be a force to be reckoned with. The senior was arguably the best player on the floor last season for the Runnin' Rebels, and now he hopes to improve in all areas of his game this season. One part that doesn't show up on game footage is leadership, something Juiston provides, sometimes visible, but most times subtle with the young players on the team.
Just helping the guys, the younger guys that came in, still learning the game, because I was in their shoes once. And just teaching them, giving them anything that I learned from my past years, any knowledge I could pick their brains. Sometimes they know more than me, you can always learn from anyone in any position.
As UNLV starts gearing up for the Mountain West Conference season, Juiston feels that he'll have a better grasp for doing it a second time this year, especially being prepared for the schools at higher elevations.
I had some troubles up in Air Force. I couldn't really breathe because I've never been in that high elevation before. So those schools, and we go to Wyoming this year, so it's going to be another situation I'm going to have to deal with. So I'll just prep myself, get extra reps in, running, just so I can build that wind up, just go up there and just compete.
Juiston is committed to being prepared, not only with the X's and O's of the game plan, but the physical and mental preparation to handle the grind of a long season. With that in mind, he picked up something new for this season, yoga.
I'm really open to new ideas, as long as it helps me relax and put me at peace. And I just go in there, just a couple stretches. It's more to just relax and unwind the day and just put your mind in an ease and peaceful place. Just trying to play basketball as long as I can. God gave me a talent. If I don't take care of my body, if I don't take care of my mind, I could easily take years off my career of basketball.
Body, mind, and soul. Juiston is all in to make his final year as a Runnin' Rebel successful, while leaving a stamp on this team that will be felt in the years to follow. That's a leader. When you look at Shakur Juiston and people see what they see on the floor, us behind the scenes get to see a little bit more. We're talking a quality individual here. That's number one.
Yeah, he's a big-time person. He's the ultimate team guy, great competitor. He's just got a lot of positives on and off the floor that he brings to our program, and we're just really, really happy to have him. I think he's going to end up having a very strong season for us, and hopefully we can not just win in the future, but send him and Noah and Chris Clyburn off with a lot of W's as well.
Last year, he was able to get inside and then dish the ball off to Brandon McCoy a lot. This year, you're going to need him to shoot the ball a little bit more.
Yeah.
And so far this season, we haven't seen him take the shots maybe that you expect him to. How do you get his brain to function and flip over to be a shooter instead of a passer?
Well, he's such an unselfish player that it was obvious that there were shots that he was passing up. But we just got to talk, show him film, continue to explain, that the younger guys that he's passing to now don't necessarily have the hand that Brandon had. Brandon had like catcher's mitts. I mean, he can catch everything in there. So he's got to, and we're tweaking some of the things that we do offensively to put him in a comfort level of being a little bit more of an aggressor, giving him some very specific things that are areas on the floor. If you catch it here, this is your directive. If you catch it here, this is your directive. Sometimes less is more.
Leadership-wise, not only on the floor but in the practice, when you've got young guys, how much of an influence is it to have somebody like him there to kind of set the tone for these guys for the rest of their college career?
Shakur is a, like I say, he's the ultimate team guy. So he steps up every once in a while and gives you one of those speeches that you go, whoa, okay, yeah, he's been around a little bit. So he picks and chooses his spots on when to have those conversations, in their team meetings or periodically if we're in a team meeting with the coaching staff. So it's good to see them growing up in that area because obviously this is their team. It's the seniors team, and they've got to do a good job, or it's just going to be all about the future, and we don't want that right now. We're not giving up on this season.
Long ways to go. We're going to take one final break. We're coming back with the Runnin' Rebels Plays of the Week from Champaign. Straight ahead.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, presented by RC Willey. Your home, your way.
All right, Coach, have a good week. Good luck on Saturday night. Thanks for joining us inside the RebZone from Champaign. We leave you with the Runnin' Rebels Plays of the Week. Good night.
The Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show was presented by RC Willey. Your home, your way.